Wow, I'm actually doing this. Welcome to episode 1 of the Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Madison Walker, and we're just going to go ahead and dive right on into it. So, Mamas is an acronym that stands for Madison on Motherhood, Marriage, and Stuff. So, very straightforward what this podcast is about. We're going to be talking about motherhood, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, the uglies, and the truths of being a bio mom, but also a stepmom. Okay, yeah, we're diving into that. Marriage, all of the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things, all about marriage and stuff. I really wanted to leave room open for me to talk about whatever I really want to on this platform, share our story, because I know it can do a lot of good and help a lot of people in a lot of different ways, especially like pulling in from my education of being a licensed parent coach. So yeah, that's what the Mamas podcast is all about, and that's what the acronym of Mama stands for. So thanks for being here. I'm super glad you're here. So a little bit about like who I am. Like I said, my name is Madison. I became a bonus mom at about the age of 20 is when I started dating my husband, and he had a kiddo, get a kiddo at the age of 19. So I have been a part of my bonus son's life basically his whole life. He was almost 1, I want to say, if my math's right, when I met him and we started dating. So super crazy to think about that because he just turned 5 in August. I got married almost a year ago. So May of last year, I got married. I was 24 years old. I'm still 24. I was 24 when I got married. Literally turned 24 the day before I got married. Like, so that was super cool. Um, and I had a baby at 24. So I had a baby in September, and I'm coming up on today actually 5 months postpartum. He's 5 months old today. Super crazy. So navigating all of that, and I also am a licensed parent coach. So I went to Kansas State University and I got my bachelor's in human development and family science, and I have a minor in conflict analysis and trauma studies. Yes, that is a mouthful. But long story short, I have a passion for kids and development and nutrition and all the things. Like, I am that friend that all of my friends come to and about questions, especially around their kids and their babies, and I freaking love it. And I know as a lot of my friends start to navigate their own life of being a mom, like, oh, I'm gonna come with you all my questions. I'm like, please do. I love it. Can't always promise to have an answer, but I will be happy to share what I do know. And so this last year, I went back to school and got my license. I became a licensed parent coach. Is that how you say that? I got my certification. Yeah. Anyway, I'm a licensed parent coach now, and so this last year, took me a couple of months to acquire that. But I've been building my business as a licensed parent coach and working with clients and families, and I just have this sincere passion for that, which is like a big reason why I'm here today and why I'm doing this podcast. It's because here's the deal. I'm not perfect. And I say this because I want you just to pay attention if you're watching this and listening to it. My outfit of choice for my first podcast, I just realized, is a red flannel and hot pink socks. Yeah, that wasn't, I didn't wake up today and was like, I'm going to film a podcast in hot pink. No, okay, that wasn't my reality. That wasn't my plan. My plan was to have my hair done and my makeup done and a cute outfit and for my background to be perfect and to like have this cute little couch and all this grand, like, okay, I had a great idea. I had this grand idea for this podcast. But it dawned on me today, especially today, it's not going to be perfect. And if I'm shooting and aiming for this idea of being perfect, I'm just setting myself up for failure. Because the fact of the matter is, I want to be so transparent of who I am in my life and my story that you feel like you know me personally. And in order to do that, I have to show up and be myself. So being myself isn't a full face of makeup because I hardly wear makeup. I wear mascara and that's it. So wearing a full face of makeup is not being transparent who I am. Having my hair all done and did and pretty, I do like to do that. Those are things that I enjoy doing. I just don't do it all the time. It's not realistic for me right now, my point of life. Same with my outfit. Sure, I love looking cute, but the fact of the matter is I'm still 5 months postpartum, and I would say half of my clothes don't fit me the way that I want them to. I want a whole new wardrobe. Can't afford that, but I want that. And so I live in leggings. Also, my day job, I'm an early Head Start home visitor. And so my day job, like I am on the floor working with kids. So I wear leggings, sweatpants, like that's my everyday attire for the most part. So I want to set myself up to be successful here, which means not being quote unquote perfect. So you're going to see me as me, and you might see me in other areas of my house because that's just the reality. Like my husband's watching my baby right now. My bonus son went to his mom yesterday. Because having a moment to do this like is hard. And if you're a mom, you know that. And if you hear my baby crying in the background, well, he's okay, he's with his dad, but that's just the reality. So anyway, that leads me to where I'm at right now, which is I'm on the floor in my basement. This room, I don't know what it is. It's not a bedroom. I don't think it can be classified as a bedroom because there's no window and no closet. It's bigger than a closet. Smaller than an average size room. And I don't know what the previous owners used this room for, but the walls are rough. I was in here the other day scrubbing, cleaning, just trying to get them to look cleaner, and then I was going to repaint them. So I was out in the garage looking for this paint. There's not any of the same color paint. And then once I got some better lighting in here, I realized they started to paint this wall, and there's just like a section that's a different color. It's a phenomenal line, very straight. They did a great job, but it's just this one little section that's a completely different color. Like they started and was like, never mind. So my idea for this podcast was like, I need to have perfect lighting in a cute place and aesthetically pleasing backgrounds and like a chair. And I need to do all these things. But the truth is, I can start where I'm at and this is good enough. And I fully plan to grow this podcast and to have a couch maybe someday instead of the basement floor. Maybe just a chair. We'll probably start with a chair. Maybe a better background. Like, look at this paint job. I didn't do this. This is just how it was. And this sign behind me, the walkers, this was what we used at our wedding. So this room is where I just stored all my wedding stuff and just random things that I didn't know where to put a home for. So I started cleaning it out to film this podcast. And I found this sign that we used on our backdrop. And I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm an adult. And I just went and got my husband's drill. And he's like, what are you doing? And I drilled it into this wall. Will it stay here? I don't know. Was I planning on having this be my background? Absolutely not. I was planning to use that wall. But I sat here instead. Yeah. So point being, I'm not perfect. This isn't going to be perfect. And as I share my story and we dive into like parenting stuff, the idea of being perfect is just not existent. It's not realistic. And I think the sooner you can come to terms with that and be okay with that, the better life's just going to be. So I've come to terms and realization that my podcast, my background, I just bought this mic for it. It's not what I had in mind, but it works for now. It's not perfect, but it works. We're going to get the job done. And as I grow my podcast, I hope you're going to be able to see that. You're going to see my background grow and change. Maybe get a paint job, you know? Maybe I'll upgrade from the floor to a couch or something. We'll see. Anyway, so why am I starting this podcast? My husband asked me what makes me happy and what my passions are, especially being 5 months postpartum and just navigating this new area of life. And I really didn't know what to say. I don't really know. And I know a lot of people relate to that. But I do know I enjoy working and helping people and moms and babies. I have this severe passion, deep passion about child development and brain science and nervous system and how that plays into our kids, but also ourselves. Super cool. And I love being able to help people. And I've started making TikToks a while ago, and I was like, this is really fun. I really enjoy this. It's stepping out my comfort zone. And I still do really enjoy that. But when TikTok got banned there for a couple of different hours, whatever, it just made me realize it's a lot of work that could just potentially go away. Like TikTok's not a forever platform. None of the platforms are, I guess. But I'm like, man, I don't know. But I've always wanted to do a podcast. I've just had a lot of fears. And we'll probably most likely dive into that down the road. there's a lot of fear that revolves around our story and the truths around it and my reality. And I've been very scared to be transparent and share that out on the internet for anyone and everyone to see because of the potential drama it could cause our family. And we have been through enough drama, especially these last 2 years. I didn't want to open up that door to cause more on our family. And so I shared that with my husband, and he is so supportive of this. So thank you to my husband for supporting my dream and my passion of creating a podcast. I appreciate it. He's a big reason why I'm here right now. But our story is very unique. And not only do I have education and support that I know is game changing and helpful to people and to parents and to step parents, but our story is also there. And I've realized that there's people out there that can relate to it. Parenting is hard. Co-parenting is hard. There's lots of books out there, but there's not a handbook on how to handle your situation. There's just not. It's hard. There's nothing out there to tell you exactly what to do and how to do it to make things better and make things okay. In-laws can be hard. Going from a stepmom then to a bio mom is a whole new transition that has been wonderful and beautiful, but also kind of weird to navigate. Co-parenting, juggling therapy with your kids. We've started therapy with my bonus son, and that's been new. And like, therapy wasn't a word or something that was familiar. Like, it's new. It's new. And navigating that with your child, who's also a stepchild, is new. Marriage, woo, man, I'll tell you what. I love being married. I love it. And I've been with this man for 5 years. And this first year of marriage has been something that I never would have thought, nothing I really could have prepared myself for, to put it lightly. So we're going to dive into that. The communication, the emotions, it can be really messy, and the importance of teaching our kids, but like not only being like marriage in general, but then being married and having step kids. Like that's a whole nother category. That's a whole nother ball game. 100%. Tantrums. Woo-wee. Those are fun. Those can be testing. So diving into that, how can we navigate and support our kids and support ourselves as parents to help us through those? Building safe and secure relationships with our bonus babies and our bio babies. I know that can be tricky. And as a parent, I think one of the best and most important things that we can do is create and have a secure and safe relationship with them. And if we can also do that as being a bonus parent, like, wow, we are doing so many great things for our kids and our bonus babies by doing that. And like, as they get older, the amount of ways that that's going to help support you is tremendous. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to have conversations on how to have hard conversations in healthy ways. And so even if we have a hard conversation with somebody who maybe doesn't know how to have a healthy conversation, or we're all learning around this, and if that conversation goes south, like that was not that was not how I wanted that to go, we can still have this peace that we are proud and happy with how we handled that and how we communicated, because that's huge. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had a hard conversation and it went really bad. There's a lot of high emotions and mixed emotions afterwards. But if you have one of those moments where then after you're like, yeah, that was not at all good and I don't feel great about it, but I feel really good with how I communicated and how I handled it, it's a game changer. It is a game changer. So we're going to dive into that and all the mom things. So finding yourself after having kids, breastfeeding, like you name it, we're going to be talking about it here. And most importantly, I want to build a community where you feel less alone and you get actual, helpful, useful information I feel like our story is very unique, and we have overcome a ton at the age of 24, and my husband is currently 25. And I know our story has full potential to help other people and to create a community where we're like, dang, like there are other people out here and I'm not alone. And I know I have information that can be very helpful for you and your family. I know it. I know it. I know it. I know it. So that's what this is for. I also want to have a segment on here where I'm able to share other stepmom stories. So if you have a story that you just kind of want to share and get out there, feel free to DM me. It's not to me on any of my socials. Might have some fellow stepmoms on the podcast talk about their stories. If you want some advice, reach out, and ask. We're going to have a segment for that. Or you don't even have to be a stepmom. You just be a mom in general. If you've got a situation with your kids, tantrums, parenting, want some advice, want some thoughts, we're going to have a segment. We're going to dive into that. And that wraps up our episode 1. Hopefully this was short, sweet, and simple and straight to the point. If you're into this, if you're digging this, like, share, subscribe, and tell your friend. Tell your friend. Tell your friend that's a mom who's pregnant, who's a bonus mom, whoever may be like, hey, I heard this. Have you seen this new podcast? Share it out there with them, please. I'm so glad to have you guys here. Eventually, I'm sure I'm going to have some kind of a something, you know? It's just not here right now. So for now, we'll see you next episode.